Good evening, folks. My name is William Faucette, and I'm a Grand President here with World Global Network. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedules to spend it with me here this evening, previewing for you what I believe to be the greatest financial vehicle I'll see in my lifetime. Now, that's a strong statement to make, given that, God willing, I plan on living for a long time, but also given the fact that I've been in the industry for 27 years. Now, just to give you a little background on myself, I did everything we're taught to do, went to school, got good grades, and came back to my hometown here, Rochester, New York, and figured that I would do good and do well. That is something that one of my mentors taught me: do good for the community while you do well personally. And my optimism lasted until about the time I got my first paycheck. Now, at that time, I was working for a local human services agency, and I remember looking at my paycheck and wondering, who in the heck is FICA, and why am I paying them so much money? See, I realized that there is a significant difference between your salary and your take-home pay. So in my circumstances, I had more month left at the end of the money, and I looked around me and found that my colleagues were in the same circumstances. The only difference between them and me was that they were older and had families to support. And I recognized, according to Anthony Robbins, a definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting to get something different from it. So I knew I needed to do something different. I began to study financial success. And I found that when you separated out athletes and entertainers, 9 out of 10 self-made millionaires got that way by being business owners. So the light bulb went off. Business ownership was my focus, and I began to look for an opportunity. However, I found barriers that kept me from moving forward. And in fact, in surveys, Americans cite those same barriers. Business ownership is described as a new American dream, but the overwhelming majority of Americans never act upon their desire to start a business. And the reasons why are time, money, knowledge, and risk. See, the average business costs over $80,000, takes 80 hours a week, and only has a 1 in 100 chance of success. So in my case, I didn't like those odds nor the cost. I didn't act upon it, and almost 3 years later was asked to take a look at an opportunity by someone I respected. And in fact, I went out just to tell her why she shouldn't do it. Lo and behold, I found an opportunity that I felt like it addressed those barriers. I got started, and I did enough in a short period of time to be making an income that could support me full-time. And I was amazed because my career took off. I eventually got into local government and rose to some fairly high levels, yet my business continued to pay me even though I wasn't doing anything with it. And so I resolved this is the greatest industry in the world, and I would truly take significant action if I ever found the right opportunity with the right timing. And just a few years later, I was actually again asked to take a look at an opportunity. It was a company that was based right here in Rochester. It was a few months into its launch, and ultimately I decided to leave government, partner with that company, and started out as a representative. But the principals of that company and we built that entity from nothing to over $120 million in sales. And I went from representative to top producer to corporate employee and eventually to CEO. And a little while later, I had chosen to step back from that company, divested myself of it, and I was looking for the right opportunity or project that I could truly focus on and spend a significant amount of time working toward creating success. And I was blessed because I had had a fair amount of management experience to be able to deal directly with owners and CEOs and top management. And so I looked at dozens of companies, narrowed it down to 6, and I was dealing with the CEOs of all of those. And then I was asked to take a look at World Global and to meet with Fabio Galdi, which I, again, going back to when I first started in this industry, agreed to do it skeptically. But I went out to meet him in February and was blown away by his vision and by the things that I saw the company had, and just a few weeks later chose to get started with World, and not as on the corporate side. So I passed up any opportunities to start something or partner with others, to focus with World as an independent representative. And so tonight I'm going to go through with you the things I saw, and what I want you to do is think about where you are and where you'd like to go. See, World is simply a vehicle to help you get from one place to the other. I believe it's the best vehicle we'll see. So let's get right into the information. Okay, so there are a number of factors that make a great opportunity. And as this slide shows you, 7 key components where any one or two is significant. But if you have a majority or even all of them, you have a once in a lifetime or even once in a decade, or excuse me, once in a decade or even once in a lifetime opportunity. And this is what I believe World represents to us. But before we get to that, I want to do something that's very unique. I want to show you a disclosure statement that World asks us to share with all of those who are looking at this business. Now, I've been, as I said, on the corporate side. Before I became CEO of my last company, I actually managed compliance, among other things. And I know that companies in this industry typically don't like to share these kinds of statements. They typically do as little as possible to comply with the regulatory environment. However, World puts it right up front. They want you to know exactly how they feel about the opportunity, your chances to succeed. And so I want to show you this here. As you can see, it's an income disclosure statement that basically says that your results will depend upon your efforts. There's going to be variability in the success levels that all of us have here. Certainly will depend upon not only skills, but work effort, commitment, and some of the things that go on in the market. Now, this again is very significant. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to our website, www.worldgn.com, and get the full statement. But I want you to understand how unique it is that World asks us to share that with you. Now, looking at those factors, the first one I want to focus on is the power of timing. Everyone knows who this is. Bill Gates, richest person in the world. He said it very well. Secret to success is getting in front of significant trends. I believe we're positioned in front of one of the most significant. I wasn't familiar with it, although I was familiar with some of the products. I didn't realize how big of a trend it was, but let me share with you what we're able to capitalize on through WGN. It's called wearable technology, and you can see here what some of the leading publications in the world have said about it. First, Forbes magazine shows you the growth from just 8 million units shipped to well over 111 million last year, and that will continue to grow because, as you can see, Forbes said that wearable tech will be a $34 billion market in just a few years. And I'm sure you'd agree with me that it doesn't take a whole lot of $34 billion to be a whole lot of opportunity, both for the company and for you and I as its representatives. Now, one of the quotes that I like the most is the one in the center of the screen from Time magazine. It says, "Wearable tech will change your life, whether you like it or not." This certainly hits home for me because I can remember 10 years ago having a business colleague travel to Europe, which was ahead of us in cellular technology at the time. And he came back and shared with me how he saw someone standing on the beach taking pictures with his cell phone. And I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Cameras were just fine. I don't know why anyone would want to take inferior pictures with their cell phone. And now you look today, here's my cell phone. And this is actually an iPhone 7, which I'll talk more about in a moment, but it has over 5,000 pictures and 500 videos. So cellular technology was an idea whose time had come, and it changed my life, and I didn't even want it to. Now, the relevance is not only the fact that the trend made that difference in my life, but also, as you see here from Business Insider, it says that the end of the smartphone era is coming. Well, what will replace the smartphone? Among other things, wearable tech. So let's look at the world global entry in the wearable market. Now, it is called the Hilo LX, and the Hilo stands for Health and Lifestyle Oracle, and it truly is a category creator, as the slide says, a game changer. You'll see others in this space that measure calories and heart rate and steps, and certainly the Hilo does all that, but as you can see from the slide, it does a fair amount more. It'll measure your breath rate, your mood, your energy levels, your calories, of course, and as well as things like your blood pressure. You can even take an EKG with it. Now, as exciting as that is, there are a couple of features that you don't find anyplace else. One is our Guardian function. Now, my Hilo is actually monitoring on a regular basis my health outcomes. So it's monitoring my heart rate, it's taking my blood pressure, my sleep, and a number of other things. If it detects an abnormal reading, it certainly alerts me, but it also can alert my loved ones as well. And so, for example, my mother and my wife, they have Hilos, and their devices are programmed to alert me if the Hilo detects anything that is out of bounds. So it's such a calming influence and the peace of mind to know that my mother, who lives alone, is truly not alone when it comes to anything that may be an initial concern relative to her health. Now, understand that the Hilo is not a medical device. However, it is an alarm, and it can alert you to a concern that you may choose to go get checked by a healthcare professional. And we have a number of anecdotes of people who truly believe that the Hilo made a significant difference in their health. In fact, a few who believe it made a major difference to the point of potentially even averting disaster. And so it's exciting to know that that exists. And then the second feature is the panic button. In this day and age, it's very important for your loved ones to be able to call for help if they're in an uncomfortable situation. And anyone wearing the Hilo can simply press a button, and it will send an SOS message to whomever they choose to send it to. Not only will it let them know that help is required, but it will also send GPS coordinates and directions to get to their location. So the Hilo truly is unique, and as it indicates, a game changer in wellness. But that's just the beginning, because in May we announced the operation of the Hilo App Store. And because of that, as it says, we have an open API. That just means that programmers can easily interface with our Hilo platform. And so why is that important? Well, if you think about the iPhone, in the early days of the iPhone, it was not the best phone. In fact, I recall at the time I had a BlackBerry, and I used to make fun of my friends who used iPhones. I would call it a toy. I would tell them they needed to step into the business world. And of course, the worst thing for them was if they needed to ask me to use my phone, because we were a place where I could get a signal and they couldn't. Well, the reason they were so loyal to the iPhone was because the iPhone had about 800 apps in its first year, and those apps focused on things that mattered to its customers. In fact, ultimately over time, it's grown to about 2.2 million apps, and I've become a convert. And you couldn't take my iPhone away from me, because there's so much that I do with my phone that goes so far beyond just being a phone. My life is truly on there. And the relevance is the same thing potentially can happen with the Hilo. We have over 200 developers now developing apps for the Hilo, everything from lie detector to gamification of health and wellness. And as Fabio Galdi, our CEO, puts it, these are things that he may never have thought about. However, they're passions to the person or people creating them. And because of that, we, with the Helo, can truly make a difference in people's lives and create that same level of passion for our product as well. And here are some of the things that are upcoming with the Helo. Now, certainly you may have been told by the person who invited you here that the Helo in the very near future will monitor blood glucose levels. In fact, we have a patent pending on what we believe to be the first non-invasive blood glucose measurement process that will be commercially available. It's a very exciting opportunity, and we're ahead of schedule in terms of releasing that this year. So that's very exciting. We'll also be able to check blood oxygen level as well. And if you look at blood alcohol and blood oxygen levels, you think, well, yeah, they're kind of geared at a certain niche, maybe people who are Gen Xers or baby boomers who are interested in monitoring their health. Now, the first thing I'd want to tell you is you can be focused on your health at any age, and you can have a health challenge at any age. I was diagnosed with a heart condition in my 30s, and I had to monitor, or chose to monitor, my blood pressure and heart rate continuously. And so you could have a desire to check these outcomes or these health measurements at any age. However, you truly could say, well, those might be select niches, but how about being able to check blood alcohol level? You see, when you picture blood alcohol level, even though you know, as Fabio says, anybody should be concerned about the impact of alcohol on their body. They should just want to know what it does to their body. But you get a picture probably in your mind of someone going to a happy hour and wondering if they're okay to drive. Well, that's a completely different demographic than maybe those who are diabetic or pre-diabetic in most cases. And these are just a few of the functions coming for the Helo, we believe, this year. Additionally, the Helo will offer a fertility measurement. And so all of these are confirmed, and they're exciting enhancements to what we're able to offer through the Helo. It truly is a one-of-a-kind device. Now, one of the other benefits of the Helo is indirect. You may have heard of germanium stones. If not, they certainly are very well known in wellness circles, folks who are focused on optimal health. They will use germanium in order to increase things like blood oxygen level, which I mentioned the Helo will measure in the near future. And germanium may also provide, because of increased circulation, a decrease in aches and pains and stiffness. And so Fabio and his team, when they learned of the benefits of germanium, they chose to put it in the Helo. So you can actually purchase germanium stones that will go in the Helo's band and provide you all the benefits of this incredible antioxidant, something that, as I indicated, is very well known in the health and wellness circles. Now, because of all of this, the Helo is garnering very, very significant attention. We've been ranked the top product in direct selling in 2017. We've been featured on local, regional, and national news stories. And most significantly to me, we actually were featured at the Consumer Electronics Show. Now, if you're not familiar with CES, it is the biggest event of its type in the world. More than 100,000 people come out to preview the latest and greatest in technology. And we did not have a booth there. World Global did not have a booth. However, we were the only product that was displayed at the booth from a company called Toshiba. Now, I'm sure everyone's heard of Toshiba, $50+ billion company. And Toshiba, when they first found out about World and the Helo, they wanted to buy the company. And because it didn't fit with Fabio's goals, he said no, but he would be interested in partnering. And so Toshiba vetted the company for several months, came back to them and said, look, we've got a new chipset, and given the products that you have in development, most notably the Helo, we would be interested in you putting our chipset in your Hilo product. And so they struck that partnership. And so the first customer of this new chipset that Toshiba has is World Global. And I don't know about you, but it is comforting to me to know, as analytical as I am, Toshiba probably is a little bit better than me at vetting a company. And so my comfort comes from the fact that if it's good enough for Toshiba, then it's probably good enough for me as well. So we're just getting started. We've actually had the Hilo on the market for less than a year, and now we're in our second version, the Hilo LX, that's just been out there for a couple of months. But as you can see from this slide, we are getting significant traction based upon our current sales as well as the product we have ordered. We are on pace to be the #2 seller in this market. So think about this for a moment. We're already #4. We're trending toward #2, and we talked about a $34 billion market. So imagine as we go from 5% to what would be 15% or so when we hit #2 to maybe 20 or 25% of this market, you can get a sense of the size of the company that will be created and the size of the opportunity for you and I. So think about a product that hasn't even been in the marketplace for a year yet and has already generated this kind of success. But the Hilo is just one of our life-changing products. One of the great things about World Global is that we truly do have products that matter, that have real retail demand. And for me, it's so pleasing and refreshing to be able to lead with a product that I'm proud of. And a second product that falls into that same category is called BioZen. Now, BioZen is simply a chip that looks like a sticker, very powerful though. What it does is reduces or even completely eliminates electrosmog. Now, you may be saying, what in the world is electrosmog? It's just a fancy term for low-level radiation. Every electronic device in existence emits it. So, for example, in the space that I'm in, I have a laptop, a camera, a microphone, a speaker, another monitor, a third monitor for the security system, a hard drive, a television, a printer. Those are all things just within 6 feet of me. All those are emitting radiation, and studies have shown that radiation obviously can be harmful. And so the BioZen reduces or completely eliminates that altogether. And I'll tell you a quick story about the effects of radiation, or about radiation that you might not even think about. I have a friend whose in-laws have a radiation meter because they live next to a cell phone tower. And so they monitor just to make sure that their home is safe. He borrowed it and he started checking things in his home, and he was mortified to find that the highest emitter of radiation in his home was not a laptop or a television. It was actually the cordless phone that sat on his nightstand 6 inches from his pillow. So when you think about that, you think about how important a device like the BioZen could be, particularly for those of us who have children or grandchildren or people that we want to know are safe. So BioZen is another important and novel product that the company has. And if you look at my cell phone, again, it's an iPhone. You can see the green device there through my case. That is the BioZen that's on the outside of my phone. However, in the very near future, we will have a cell phone that has BioZen on the inside. And it's an exciting time for us. Our third product is called the Infolio. Will be coming out within the very near future, and along with everything else, it's a state-of-the-art cell phone, and it has the space or the size of an iPhone 7, yet the screen size of a 7 Plus, because the screen goes all the way to the edge. That's what it means on this slide when it says bezel-less design. And it's very powerful in terms of dual SIM card, powerful battery, supposed to have one of, if not the best cameras on the market. And it also has the Biozin embedded internally. So it'll be the first non-admission cell phone on the market. So we're very excited about that, and that'll be coming out in the very near future. So how does all of this happen? Well, a third category, we've talked about timing, we've talked about product. You see how powerful we are in those areas. But a third key is management. And in my case, when I want to know what someone's likely to do, I tend to look at what they've already done. And Fabio Galdi, our CEO, as I mentioned, impressed me tremendously when we sat down. The first reason he impressed me is not on this slide, and that is that he is actually the inventor of the Hilo technology. So he's not just a marketer or a business person, he's actually a scientist. And that gave me comfort knowing that he truly is in control of the future direction of our technology. But he also is a very accomplished businessman. You can see here on this slide his accomplishments. He's been a category creator in many different areas, and he believes that World and its products will be his biggest accomplishment yet. So it's an exciting time, and he is not alone. Now, I mentioned our Infolio cell phone. I also mentioned my iPhone 7. They have one thing in common, and that is they were designed by the same person. So when you want to talk about the power of a management team, how about World Global and Fabio's vision luring the designer of the iPhone 6 and 7 from Apple to World Global? So Antonio De Rosa is our Chief Design Officer and our Senior Vice President of Marketing, and he is one of the individuals who truly is a testament to the quality of the team that's been put together, as well as the quality of the company to attract him in the first place. And the company has received a number of accolades up to this point. You can see here that we've been designated one of the top MLM companies. The #1 product, as I already spoke about, a AAA rated business opportunity, but the one that caught my attention when I found it is the DSN Top 100. Now, DSN stands for Direct Selling News. It is like the Bible of our industry, like the Wall Street Journal of direct or network marketing. And every year they publish a list of the top 100 companies in the world. And I know how hard it is to get on that list and stay there, because I ran a company that had been featured on the list. And it is exciting to know that World Global has been featured on this list twice now, in 2016 and 2017. They're right about $150 million in revenues, yet they, at the time, were ranked, had virtually no presence in North America. We launched North America in 2016 in September, so we haven't even been in North America for a year. And so those of you with networking experience are probably familiar with the cliche ground floor opportunity. And I cringe as someone from the corporate side when I hear it, because I know that most people have no idea what they're getting into with a ground floor opportunity. The thing they are typically getting into is a ground floor company as well, and typically that company collapses before that ground floor opportunity ever gets off the ground. And so what you want to look for is what could be labeled a unicorn, a ground floor opportunity without the risk of a ground floor company. You rarely find them, but how about finding a company that is over $150 million in sales, yet just getting started in the US and North America in general? That's very exciting, and that is what we have here with WGN. Now, another advantage to World Global is we are a publicly traded company, and everyone, of course, needs to do their own due diligence, whether they would make an investment or not. You certainly and obviously don't have to, but it is certainly worthy of note that the stock price has made some pretty significant moves over the last year. You know, the price about a year ago, or maybe a little bit more, was trading well under $1, and now it's trading at more than $20. So that gives you a sense of the kind of growth the company has seen in its stock price. Obviously, as the company moves toward its goals, it's going to need to grow significantly on a revenue side. Its goal is to be a $1 billion company and then a multi-billion-dollar company And it will obviously need a significant amount of field leadership to support that growth. And so what we truly offer you the opportunity to do here by getting started with World Global is to move from the consumer side of this industry, one of the hottest industries in the world right now, paying someone else, to the producer side, getting paid as the trend continues. That's the excitement that we have here with World Global. Now, another of the factors that truly is key is the team and the systems that can make the opportunity work. And this is Nat and Shanita Puranaputra. They are our global master distributors. They have decades of experience. Shanita has actually been recognized as the highest earning female in the history of network marketing. So we're very blessed to have their leadership as our master distributors. They've been with the company for just about a year, and the systems that they've brought have fueled the growth that World is seeing. And in addition to that, they've helped the company expand significantly internationally. So one of the other things I saw when I looked at World was the fact that the opportunity is available worldwide. Now, I was on a plane a few weeks ago and read an article from a gentleman who claimed to have traveled to every country in the world. And by every country, he defined that as 197 countries. So when you look at the slide and you see that World is available in 195 countries, that should be quite impressive. The other two you probably don't want to go to, but I have been with a company that expanded internationally in my first company, and then actually led a company that expanded internationally in my second company. And I know how tough it is in that company. Quite honestly, we failed more than we succeeded. So to be here with World and to know that I can go into a website and pick a country, and if I have a customer there, as I just checked for someone in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago, they can actually go in, choose Saudi Arabia from a drop-down menu, put in an address, and have our products shipped direct to their doorstep. I don't know anywhere in our industry where you can do something like that, particularly building from the comfort of your own home. So it's very exciting that this is a global opportunity that truly is just getting started worldwide, not just here in North America. So the systems and the processes that have been put in place have yielded significant success. Remember now, Nat and Shanita came here just about a year ago, a little bit more, and this is one of the top earner lists in our industry, Business for Home. You can see here that at the time this list was pulled, it actually ranks several people as top earners in the world in direct marketing who are actually representatives of World Global. So we had 11 people on this list. That's more than 5% of the top 200 in less than a year. And 4 of these folks are from the United States. So again, the system works. All you would need to do is come to the company with work ethic and desire, and we will teach you step by step what exactly you need to do to create success. So let's look at how you can get started with World Global and how you can benefit. The first thing to understand is that you do not have to buy a product to be a representative, although we certainly recommend it. And of course, you can be a customer without being a representative. So you can be a representative, you can be a customer. Ideally, you'll do both. That's certainly what I recommend. And here are the processes that allow you to do that. You can choose your product. So you don't have to pay to become a representative. You simply purchase a product and sign our marketing agreement, and then you're able to get started referring people to this information, and that's all you do. So you might say, well, where do I get started? Well, I would recommend a starting position of at least our family pack. You can see what our family pack offers you: multiple helos and Biozen, and truly all of our products that are currently available. You can get a sense of what they do, the benefits of them. And you may say, well, why do I need 4 helos? Well, as I mentioned, My wife has a helo, my mother has a helo, our kids are still demanding helos. And so the first reason that you want to start, at least as the family pack level, is because you have people that you care about that the device can make a difference for. And so the second reason is because you're building a business and you're going to refer people to this information who will want to get started, and you don't want them to have to wait for their helo to come in. I commonly hear people say, well, before I get started, I want to get my helo and I want to just see how it works, etc. Well, if you have an inventory of helos, you can give them one. They'll replace yours when theirs comes in, and they can hit the ground running. So you do that at the family pack level or the premium pack level. The only difference is the number of helos, band packs, and Biozen. And then you also could choose to add Biozen as well. Now, I mentioned probably 8 or 9 devices just within 6 feet of me here in my home office. And so you could easily use what comes in this package, 30 Biozen, just on what's in your home. And I'm living proof of that. My first order was for 30 Biozen because I wanted to understand how it works. So if you look at my example, I bought a family pack, very quickly had to order 2 more, and then I bought the Biozen 30 pack as well. And the thing to understand is when purchases are made, if you refer someone and they choose to purchase product, you're going to earn what we call a fast start bonus, and that's 10% of whatever they've spent. So that's the first income stream that's available. And again, the first step is simply picking a product. Now, the second step is that you're going to go out and you're going to refer people to this information. And understand, if you've never been involved in direct marketing before, we commonly hear people say, well, I'm not a salesperson. Great, because people don't always succeed in what we do because they're not always coachable. And so what we do is not sales. We're simply sharing information. And if you don't think that you're already doing what we do, you're sadly mistaken. Think about the last time you ate in a good restaurant or saw a good movie. What'd you do? You probably told someone about it. However, that restaurant owner or movie studio didn't send you a thank you check. So you're already doing what we do. The difference is we get paid. So your first goal after you've chosen to get started is to refer a couple people who see what you see. Now, we build 2 teams here in World Global. And we could call them Team 1 and Team 2, but we're visual people. So we call them the left team and the right team. That's all you're doing, building 2 teams. How do you do it? You refer people. So your first goal is to refer a couple of people who've chosen to get started at the same level you did. Again, recommending family or premium pack. That's going to maximize your earnings because you can earn up to 20% of whichever team is smaller. So again, you're building 2. Whichever one generates the smaller volume, you'll earn 20%, which is very significant and unique in our industry. Now, you might not understand all the numbers. That's okay. You'll be assigned a mentor who will walk you step by step through exactly what you need to do and how to do it. So it's a very simple process. Just keep in mind your first step is to choose product. Your second step is to refer a few people who do the same. Now, think about this. You referred 2 people and they saw you get paid on what they chose to purchase. Now, I'm sure they think it's great that you got paid. You probably know them. But in reality, their goal, they're starting a business because they want to get paid. So what's your third step? Your third step is to do the same thing, help them do the same thing you did. You're basically going to help them refer a few people. How do you do that? You introduce them to your mentor. Because you're new, you can't easily explain our process or the systems unless you have experience in the industry, and we don't expect you to. All we expect you to do is to listen to the expert that will be working directly with you. So that person is going to work with those individuals as well when they refer a few people who choose to get started, buy some product as they do get started. Well, those people are going to become team builders, which was step 2. You are going to become a team developer. Now, what's the significance of team developer? Team developer opens the career path in WGN. You can earn higher levels of of income. You can rank up. You can receive benefits like a car allowance, trips, and a few more that I'll talk about in just a minute. But everything starts from your ability to hit the position of team developer. Now, this shows how you can advance to higher levels of earning. And there are a lot of positions on this slide and a lot of numbers. Don't worry if you don't understand them. I certainly didn't when I first saw it. I just knew from experience that there was probably money there. And I just wanted to know, were there people who had hit the higher levels in the company? So let me give you a sense of that. I'm a grand president, and I did that in my first couple of weeks in the business. I've been in the business for 3 months now. My sponsor, Mike Sims, is a president millionaire. He did that in his first couple of weeks in the business, and he's been in maybe 2 months longer than me. His sponsor, Ramasio Fulcher, is a double president millionaire, and Ramasio's probably been in for 9 or 10 months or so. And then Ramasio's sponsors are Chad and Natita Chong, and they opened up the U.S. last September, and they are grand president millionaires. So you have 4 of us who are at the highest levels in the company, the 4 top positions you can see there. So I only tell you that so that you can know that there are people who are actually out there achieving these positions. They've done it in a short period of time, and they're willing to help you create the same success that they have. Now, we've talked about the products available in World, and one of the things that those with experience might be asking is, well, what about residual? And for those with no experience, you might not know what residual is. Residual is truly the best form of income. It's the ability to get paid over and over for doing something once. And the best example of residual that I've ever heard is Elvis Presley. Now, as you know, he's been gone 30 or maybe 40 years or so. If you really believe he's gone, I always have 1 or 2 people in in-person meetings who refuse to accept it. But Elvis's heirs made more last year than he made in the last year of his life, because his records are played, and when they're played, they get paid. And so that is truly powerful. And World Global has one of the best implementations of residual that I've seen. It's called the loyalty membership. And the first thing to note is that it's $59. So again, for those with experience who may be used to paying $300, $400, $500 a month to maintain their business, here your overhead is $60 a month. And the key thing with World is that the focus is first providing value to customers. So why would you get the loyalty membership? Well, the first thing it does is it gives you the advanced monitoring features that come with the Hilo. So rather than, for example, with the Guardian or the Panic SOS, being able to only alert 1 person or 2 people, you can alert a significant number more because you have the Hilo app Pro. And there are a number of other features that would cost $12 a month for a customer. However, you get 5 monitoring features, 5 instances of the Hilo app Pro that come with your loyalty membership. So you can do the math, and 5 times 12 is 60. So you get the value of the membership just in that one benefit. You also get a protection plan if anything happens to your Hilo. As long as it's not lost, if you can send it back to them, the company will replace it with no questions asked. And one of the most significant benefits, in my opinion, is loyalty points. Now, you get 75 loyalty points, and a loyalty point is simply $1 to spend in the World Global store. And what could you use it on? Well, we've talked about a number of products. We talked about the Hilo, we talked about Biozen, we've talked about Infolio. You can actually use your loyalty points to purchase those products, literally get them for free. And you can, again, do the math and figure, 59 is less than 75. So you pay 59, you get back 75. That's a pretty good deal. You also, as a business builder, are able to get a dividend program, I like to call it, or a savings plan, depending upon how you look at it, and the company takes 1% of all the volume that your smaller team generates, and they pay it to you at the end of 1 year. So after you've been on the loyalty program for 12 months, the company will send you a check. And I can tell you, they call that the money box. And my money box has significantly more in it than a year's worth of loyalty membership. So it's been a no-brainer for me. It's also commissionable. You can see here that it's got a $30 in volume, and you earn 20% of that. So you can earn $6 per loyalty member on your smaller team, plus $6 a month for anyone you personally enroll in World Global. So again, it's an exciting income stream, provides significant value to those who want to use it just because they like the benefits, even if they're not building the business. And because of that, the company reports that it has better than 80% retention. Now that's unheard of in our industry. Better than 80% of the people who start on loyalty stick with it month over month. So it's an exciting proposition. That's what truly builds the residual income. So in order to actually stay active as a representative, a very simple process. You simply, in North America, need to sell $30 of product or 30 SV in a month, and you already heard loyalty has a 30 SV value. So if you have a person on the loyalty program, you're on it yourself, then you will continue to be active in World. And so it's exciting that the company doesn't make you jump through hoops to maintain your business or to earn your commissions. They have a very simple process that allows you to do that. So we've talked about a company, we've talked about a product, we've talked about the power, the trends and timing. We've talked about the compensation plan. We referred to the team, and this will allow you to put faces with names. Again, people who are truly from all different backgrounds, walks of life. The one thing they have in common is that they want to have, be, or do more, and they are all here to help you create success. Now, there is plenty of room on this slide for you and the people you would bring. Imagine World Global, as you can see here, has 8 people at the top ranks of the company. Imagine when we have 80 or 800 or 8,000. That's coming in the future. You have the opportunity to get started with us when we have 8. And so many of those people could be in your business, in your organization. You could benefit from their efforts. The company is very committed to rewarding its leaders. In fact, I've been blown away. I think that the management team I was a part of in the past did a pretty good job of taking care of its leaders, but World has truly taken things to another level. This slide shows a benefit that they gave top leaders just last month, in fact, and that was a supercar. Now, I've been a part of car programs before. I've awarded cars, but the one thing that caught my attention is when they explained this program, they indicated that these folks got 2 things. They got the car, and then they got the title to the car. And so, you know, I've seen lots of programs where the company makes a monthly payment and you have to stay in qualification in order to continue to get the payment. World didn't do that. They actually rewarded these folks on past accomplishments rather than on future work. And so that's very exciting. And to top that, the next program that the company came out with, we were wondering what in the world are they going to be able to do to top that. And when Fabio Galdi introduced it, he said, I have to tell you that I'm not joking before I introduce this benefit. And he was 100% correct, because had he not said that, I would have thought he was joking, because World introduced a luxury travel program that includes not only luxury homes that can be secured for a couple $100s a week. The homes have a value of $2.5 million and up, but even better, a private jet program that includes unlimited use of a private jet for free. So in the home program, you might pay a couple $100s to get the use of a multi-million-dollar home for a week, but you could fly there on a private jet that costs you nothing. And how do you do that? You have to hit the position of President Millionaire one time, and you get the program for a year. So we're very excited about that. A number of us are running for it. It was just announced, and we are looking forward to being able to pick our friends and family and business associates up in the private jet and fly wherever we choose to in the US, North America, and in some places, even worldwide. So to summarize, we talked about a company perfectly positioned in front of very significant trends. That company has a top management team. It has a category creator in terms of its product, and it has one of the most lucrative compensation plans that I've seen in my tenure in this industry. And so that now returns us to where we started, and you'll recall we started with you and your goals. If you've seen an opportunity here to make your goals a reality, I urge you to get started now. See, the people that you're thinking of who may be interested in what World has to offer, we'll sit down with them, we'll do a professional presentation just like we're doing for you here, and then they can evaluate whether they see an opportunity for themselves. But at least you will have presented the opportunity to them, because I want you to know that we're very serious about the business, we're very aggressive, and someone's probably going to get to your people with you or without you. So if it's with you, you can benefit. If it's without you, well, ultimately, they may be coming to you and suggesting that you get involved in World, and I've seen this happen, and they're looking to benefit as you grow your business rather than the other way around. So it's important that if you've seen an opportunity, you truly want to get started now. So in summary, I want you to just think about what it is that you would like to achieve. And, you know, when we're young, we all have big dreams. I can remember growing up, I wanted to be an attorney and a football player, and I had all these things, and there were no limitations, nothing that I put upon myself, or I was blessed not to have anything put upon me. I was taught that I could be anything that I wanted. But as we get older, sometimes life beats those dreams out of us. And I remember I was actually sitting with my family. We were getting ice cream actually a couple summers ago, and my 7-year-old son was talking about all the things that he was going to do. He was going to have a Porsche Pan America, and he was going to live in this kind of house, and he was going to have this kind of wife. And our 20-year-old at the time said to him, "Why are you talking about all these things that you want to do?" And he said, "Because in order to have a life, you've got to plan a life." And so what I would say to you as I wrap up, that it's not enough just to get dreaming again. You actually have to have the plan to make those dreams a reality. I believe World Global is the best plan that I'll see. We invite you to join with us, and we promise you we will match your commitment. We will walk with you step by step, and ultimately we want you to be able to look back on the day you join World Global as the best financial decision you've ever made. So with that, that's going to conclude tonight's presentation. I thank you for your time and your attention. We do this presentation 5 times a week. I look forward to seeing you back on a future presentation, not as a guest, but as a representative with guests of your own. Thank you very much. Good night, and God bless.